The fall weather is in the air. It is officially football weather in the South, and with it, another week of the Panther Pulse here from Zapata Mexican Restaurant on 93.3 The River. Good evening, everybody. Justin Foster, joined, as always, by Caleb Turrentine, here with a great show for you tonight. We will recap the game against Homewood from Friday, talk to some key players from the Panthers, and later on in the show, we talk all things homecoming. Nicole Knight from Pelham City Schools is with us, as well as SGA for PHS. We've got Val Slay and Shelly Bates, as well as some student representatives there. Later on in the show, we talked to Coach Marty Springfield and some of his track and field athletes, and we cap things off with a conversation about Friday night's big region closer against Chilton County. But we kick things off with a discussion on Friday night's matchup against Homewood. Tough one for the Panthers, 28-0 loss. Caleb, your thoughts in what you saw from Friday?
Well, I think I don't want to take any of the blame here, but that's probably the first time I tuned into a first half on the radio. I was really interested in this game, and then we saw how it went. So I think I might be banned from listening to y'all until like those last minutes. But, I think more than anything, I think it showed Homewood's strength. I mean, that's a really good team, and when you talk about how good this region is, you talk about the top teams, and they're very capable of making a deep run. And now I think when you put yourself up against a test like that, you kind of see what you need to do to be one of those teams to make a deep run. So I think you can learn a lot from it.
So we bring in now Coach Mike Vickery. Coach Vick, tough loss, first one of the season that really, no chance of it in the fourth quarter, kind of got away from us there. How do you really think Homewood was able to be so successful in the matchup?
Like I said, Caleb said, that they're a very good team. They're very well coached. We knew that coming in. They brought a ton of energy. I thought our guys, we didn't have our guys ready for that big moment, that big game moment. And when you got to start faster in those kind of games. And we got two stops early. Had the ball, twice. Their first drive was, we got the ball back pretty quick, and we couldn't put anything together offensively. We really had a rough night offensively with just executing the things that we haven't had issues with over the last few weeks, and that's on me. So I tell the kids, hey, I'm the offensive guy. I'm calling the plays. We got to put you in a better position and have you ready for that atmosphere. And, it was loud, and we didn't handle it very well. And by the time we kind of settled in, we had to kind of get out of what we were going into the game trying to do. And we talk about it all the time. With getting down a couple scores kind of changes things a little bit with what you're doing. And I thought the drive right before half was just was a killer drive for us. Great for them. And where we had the ball, I think 4th and 5. In normal situations, there we're going to go for that on their side of the field. But we really felt we're getting the ball back in the second half. We punt it, play smart football, pin them back deep, and try to get to half down 7-0, regroup, and get the ball back coming out of halftime. And they went 90 yards and about a minute, and that really took a lot of what we had hoped to do away, especially when we went into put a drive together coming out of halftime and didn't get points out of it, and they limited us with number of plays, number of snaps, number of possessions. They really held the ball. They coming in, they ran the clock down, offensively, and really tried to control the tempo, control the clock, and we just couldn't recover.
So when you look at a game, obviously there's never a good time to lose. I don't want to say it like that, but sometimes you hear it from coaches, like sometimes a loss comes in a good spot in the season, maybe serve as a wake-up call. Do you think that can be something to maybe get y'all to realize like where you're at going into the postseason?
Well, it better. I mean, we gotta see those falls and fix them. And sometimes, the previous couple weeks when you get 10 turnovers, we talked about this too. I mean, we get 10 turnovers in 2 weeks, and it masks some of those things that we didn't do well in those games as well. So. It is a wake-up call. You go back to work and fix those things. Try to put a plan together where the kids can be successful. Simplify some things that they were struggling with in that atmosphere, because we'll be in that atmosphere again, this year. So, the kids responded well, coming back ready to work and ready to go fix our issues.
Quarterback Woods Ray, great game on the ground, through the air. Were you surprised at all by his ability running the ball? Is that something we'd seen in the film? He kind of took me off guard with his legs.
Yeah, he's really athletic. They don't do a lot of called quarterback run stuff, but he does a great job with buying time. You saw him getting outside the pocket. He's a big, strong kid, and keeping his eyes downfield, making some plays, rolling to the sideline, staying alive. Then we missed fit something late on his long touchdown run, and he popped that one. Really good athlete, caught us in zero coverage with our backs turned a little bit, and he's a really good athlete. He played really well. There's a lot of good quarterbacks in this region. With Chris, the kid at Ben Russell and Clayton and all these guys that have really stepped up, and Homewood's right there with them as good as there is in our state. So good quarterback play, really athletic, really big, and tough to tackle for sure.
I saw Coach Bergerson after the game talked a lot about their offensive line, that being a big difference in how they handle that, especially in the second half, being able to wear y'all down. What's that like, from the sideline when you're seeing that? How can you even approach something like that and try to slow that down?
Well, and that's part of what we misfit. We're putting ourselves in a situation where we give up a big play, a couple of big plays, because we're trying to get a little bit more pressure. Our offensive line was doing a really good job against us, and quite honestly, our offense couldn't stay on the field. So our defense was on the field a lot. They were controlling the ball, and made us take some chances, some gambles there, and especially in the second half where they popped some long runs on us, and because of again, the ability of their offensive line to kind of stop. We're not super deep. So those guys played a lot of snaps, and we weren't able to affect the quarterback without bringing pressure, bringing extra guys, and hats off to them. And they played offensive line wise, probably the best we've seen all year.
From our vantage point, Homewood had a distinct advantage in the band, 400 deep, and it seemed like any time we're on the field, they are making all the difference. Was that something you noticed on the field and maybe affected our guys as well?
It was loud. It really was, and I don't know if it affected our guys. We didn't offensively. We missed some things. Even plays that that we've had no issues with. That wideouts running the wrong route here, or our running back was on the wrong side. You saw several offside penalties where they were shifting and doing some things up front. So hats off to them. They're loud. We had something we do a lot of. We haven't done it as much the last few weeks because of kind of our schedule, but we had speakers and noise out there today, and we'll have that tomorrow, and just trying to get back into that focus on we signal everything, offensively. Every position gets a signal, and when you're not getting correct signals, it leads to bad plays. So I think we kind of got into a habit of kind of listening a lot in practice instead of looking a lot, and so we got to mimic that in practice. And those guys did a nice job of being as loud as they could be when we were on offense, for sure.
On offense, we've talked about the guys who have been plugging in, stepping up when there's been injuries or different things happening. It happens. But was this one of those first games where you thought that maybe that became a little bit more noticeable of the guys that you were missing, or was it just maybe more noticeable for us from the outside just how the game went?
Well, when you're struggling offensively, sometimes you need a spark, and you need someone to make an individual play that kind of gets you out of a rut. And we just, again, I thought when we ran plays, we put ourselves in pretty good. We had a lot of second and sixes. We got ahead of the chains, and I think we had 4 straight possessions with 4 straight offsides penalties that led to a punting situation in third and more than 10. So. You got to have someone that steps up and makes some individual plays in those moments against really good football teams, and obviously we got to find those guys. We've lost some kids along the way, but our kids have fought and they've gotten better and better. And it's one of those nights that you learn from and say that they realize, hey, we gotta step up and make a play when the team needs it, offensively and defensively. So I think depth is always something that we've got to continue to improve here at Pelham, but proud of our kids and the way that they've responded so far this week.
After a game like this, do you kind of flush it away? Do you look at that film a lot, or is it something you say, hey, let's move on? get the taste out of our mouth and focus on next week?
Well, you got to flush this one. I mean, you got to learn from it. Obviously, we watched it on Monday. You know, our coaches have done a good job, but we didn't spend a ton of time. We know that the mistakes that we made were a lot of self-inflicted mistakes that we have to correct. Our kids know that, and you kind of flush that and move, get ready for the next one. Especially, in this region where the next one's good enough to win the football game as well. So we flush it. It's tough. As coaches, we go back and watch and kind of see what people do to try to take certain things away. And really, Homewood didn't do a lot different than what we'd seen. I think I've been coaching for 21 years. I a coordinator for 12. And that was, I think, the fourth time in my coaching career that we've been shut out. So, I mean, so you definitely want to go back, watch. Hey, what did they do to contain what we typically try to do, so we go back and learn. But we want to flush it, move on to the next one, move to that positive mindset, and move forward.
Does it make it easier when you have so much to play for? That's a home playoff game. That's a big deal, and I'm not taking anything away from the rest of that region, but also, avoiding Hillcrest Tuscaloosa is also a pretty big deal too. I mean, does that make it easier to move on, knowing how big this game still is on Friday?
Well, I think so. I mean, the kids know we have an opportunity to host a playoff game, have an opportunity, so they know the matchups, they know all the situations. So, and our kids, we had a bye week early, and our kids were able to go. A lot of our kids were at the Chilton-Briarwood game when Chilton played really, really well against Briarwood, and they've seen them live. They've seen them, their ability to play in big games and really, really close against them in Helena. So our kids know they're a good football team, and they're ready to go.
And we will preview that one later on in the show. But coming up after this, we will talk to 4 key players for the Panthers about Friday night's game and about the rest of the season. That is coming up right after this on the Panther Pulse from Zapata Mexican Restaurant.
State Farm Insurance Agent Joseph Chambers is a proud supporter of 93.3 The River and all things Pelham. Joseph and his staff can take care of your home and auto insurance needs as well as life insurance. State Farm was recently ranked number 1 by J.D. Power & Associates for life insurance customer satisfaction. Joseph's office is located in the Canyon Park Office Center. His number is 205-663-3276. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Zapata Mexican Restaurant is a proud supporter of 93.3 The River. Zapata is a local, family-owned and operated business, proud to have been a part of the Pelham area for more than 20 years. They have more than 100 authentic and delicious Mexican dishes to choose from. There's something for everyone, from salads to steak fajitas to chicken fingers. They also have excellent vegetarian options and a kid-friendly menu. Zapata Mexican Restaurant, where Valleydale meets Highway 31 in Pelham.
Work is a part of all of us. We know that the world around us has changed, and that's why the Alabama Department of Labor is here to get you back to working hard. Work is a part of all of us. Let us help you get back to it by visiting your local career center or alabamaworks.alabama.gov. Funding provided by the USDOL, ETA, and Federal WIOA, and Equal Opportunity Employer Program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request. Brought to you by this station and the Alabama Broadcasters Association.
The interstate is backed up this morning due to an accident.
So you don't like sitting still on the interstate? Get the free Algo traffic app. With Algo, you'll have the information you need to avoid problems on your route, to work, to home. Traffic backups, wrecks, lane closures, all with current info and live traffic camera feeds. Know before you go with Algo Traffic, ALGO Traffic from the Alabama Department of Transportation. Get it today and arrive on time.
Sponsored by LDOT, ABA, and this station.
Back here at Zapata Mexican Restaurant, the Panther Pulse continues on here on this cool Tuesday night, welcoming in now several guys from the Panthers. We bring in first the offense, Clayton Maines and Mikey Ramos with us. How we doing, guys?
Doing pretty good. We're pretty good.
Well, we want to talk a little bit about Homewood, kind of your takeaways from a game that didn't go our way and kind of a little bit off from the start. How did that kind of play out for you guys?
Like you said, it wasn't a great game. Not anywhere on the ball, anywhere on the offense. We just started slow, never really found a rhythm, just real slow. And I think the takeaways this week in practice have just been kind of have to flush it and get back on rhythm, get back to where we're supposed to be, and kind of just keep getting through everything.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I feel like coming off a loss like that, we're kind of using it almost as motivation, to get better. And I mean, intensity's been pretty good at the practice the past few days. So yeah.
So especially from an offensive standpoint, I mean, you're not used to getting shut out. I mean, no one likes getting shut out, but how do you try to maybe use that and getting better, maybe as a learning lesson, like certain things that you can do differently, maybe not be in that situation again?
Well, it really shows us that we're not where we need to be, and it really is I think woke some of our guys up that we need to put the work in. We can't just walk around and practice. Like it needs to happen from the get-go, and I think that loss, although we never want to see that, but I think like we're going to build off of it, and it's going to get better from here.
Is that something maybe you can take as a positive? I mean, obviously you don't want to lose a game like that, but at this point in the season where the weight is even heavier every single week, playoffs right around the corner, is it kind of a wake-up call that you can take and build some positives from?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like you said, we're going to take away from it, not where we're at, where we need to be, and we're just going to, build off it basically.
Was this one of those things where y'all thought y'all had a bad night? You realized that how good Homewood was maybe a little too late? Was it a mixture of both?
I mean, Homewood's a good football team, but I really think that we were off from the get-go. We just had a really bad night. I really think we can compete with Homewood. If we saw them again, we would be able to. But yeah, they're a good football team, and when you take advantage of mistakes and you execute, good football teams do that, and that's really something that opened us up, that opened our eyes to that too as well.
So looking ahead this Friday night, Chilton County, really a lot of different scenarios as far as playoffs, but all that's in front of us is win that ball game and put ourselves in the best position. What are y'all doing to prepare for this game, and what are you expecting from the Tigers?
Really, we have a saying this week. It's just about us. It's about us. Like it's about we got to go down there and execute. It's all business, and we got to just stay on our path and stay where we need to be. And I really think that Chilton's a good football team. Their record doesn't show it. They're a good football team, and they're going to play hard. But I think it's about us. We get on there and we execute what we need to do. It's just another game. And we know we're capable of winning the football game. And we know that we're capable of going down there and executing how we know we're capable of.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Like you said, they're a good football team. Yeah.
Is there a little bit of danger going into a team like that they've been so close in so many games of, I won't say overlooking them, but them maybe playing with a little extra fire? It's their last region game. They hadn't gotten a win in the region. Not a trap game, but, maybe you see a different team than they've been playing like the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, you got to keep your eyes open. I mean, this week can't let up at all. And I think this first 2 days in practice, like I already said, I think we've been really focused on. I think it's looked a lot better than it did maybe last week, and we've put some new stuff in that you'll see, obviously. But I think that it's going to help us, and we just got to keep our eyes up and keep trekking on our path.
Does it help when you have so much on line? Obviously, everyone wants that home playoff game. I know it's not completely in y'all's control, but you win. You're going to be very close to getting that home playoff game. Is that something that keeps y'all motivated?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Our coaches have been really hounding us on, not trying to, overlook them because, their record is not the greatest, of course. I mean, but they're a good football team, of course. And, our coach is just making sure that we don't, get into our heads about it, and we just come out ready, of course. So.
Let's turn down to the defense now. Gerardo Lopez joining us, representing that defensive line. How you doing, Big G?
Doing pretty well. How about you?
Doing great. Now, do want to get y'all's perspective from the defensive side. Homewood, kind of a different opponent. They just frustrate you with the little plays constantly. From a defensive standpoint, what's that like to have them just dink and dunk, third and short, and just move the ball so slowly?
I mean, it's frustrating, but we got to work on it. We got to start figuring out how to get into coverages and stuff like that. D-line personally has to give more pressure towards the quarterback, so quarterback doesn't just dinks and dunks like you said. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, that's what I think about it.
And we talked to Coach a little bit about it too, but during that second half, it really felt like that their offensive line started to control that. What's that like, especially defensive linemen? Y'all are trying to do all you can, but at a certain point, stamina only lasts so long when they're wearing y'all down.
I mean, yeah, you're right about that, the stamina and stuff like that. That's why we're trying to like train up like the younger ones, like sophomores and freshmen, to try to come in and take the load off of the juniors and seniors, because some of the D linemen right now are injured, but they're coming back this week, but they were injured last week, so it's great having back for that stamina issue.
How much does that help you prepare for, later times going through that, as a group, as a unit?
It helps us pretty well, yeah.
So 2 games in the regular season left, big one this Friday. How do you kind of find that momentum at the right time of the season? Is there anything you can do preparation-wise to make sure you're peaking at the right time?
I mean, it all starts on Monday. Like, you got to learn your opponent, learn everything about him, start watching film, and you got to get hyped. Like, it's on Monday. You can't just turn it on Thursday and be ready on Friday.
Now, getting that extra home game, I know I kind of mentioned it to them, but senior night was last week. You got homecoming coming up. It's almost like you need that home playoff feel. You don't have all these distractions around that home playoff game. How much would that mean to y'all?
I mean, pretty well, like, going into, like, a playoff game. Like, it'll have us motivations, like, very high, and, like, it'll get us really well for the playoff game.
Have there been any specific areas of focus for this big game defensively from what you guys have been focusing on in practice this week?
Really the run, because their offensive line is very run-heavy and stuff like that. But other than that, the pass we can definitely shut down, but we're working on the run, and because the running back's pretty good.
We're looking forward to it, guys. Appreciate y'all stopping by. Again, Mikey Ramos, Clayton Maines, and Gerardo Lopez. We will take a quick break, and we will switch our attention to all things homecoming. It's next week. We got a lot of festivities, and we will run over all of them right after this. We'll be right back from Zapata Mexican Restaurant as the Panther Pulse marches on.
State Farm Insurance Agent Joseph Chambers is a proud supporter of 93.3 The River and all things Pelham. Joseph and his staff can take care of your home and auto insurance needs as well as life insurance. State Farm was recently ranked #1 by J.D. Power and Associates for life insurance customer satisfaction. Joseph's office is located in the Canyon Park Office Center. His number is 205-663-3276. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Zapata Mexican Restaurant is a proud supporter of 93.3 The River. Zapata is a local family-owned and operated business, proud to have been a part of the Pelham area for more than 20 years. They have more than 100 authentic and delicious Mexican dishes to choose from. There's something for everyone, from salads to steak fajitas to chicken fingers. They also have excellent vegetarian options and a kid-friendly menu. Zapata Mexican Restaurant, where Valleydale meets Highway 31 in Pelham.
The interstate is backed up this morning due to an accident.
So you don't like sitting still on the interstate? Get the free Algo traffic app. With Algo, you'll have the information you need to avoid problems on your route, to work, to home. Traffic backups, wrecks, lane closures, all with current info and live traffic camera feeds. Know before you go with Algo Traffic, ALGO Traffic, from the Alabama Department of Transportation. Get it today and arrive on time.
Sponsored by LDOT, ABA, and this station.
State Farm Insurance Agent Joseph Chambers is a proud supporter of 93.3 The River and all things Pelham. Joseph and his staff can take care of your home and auto insurance needs as well as life insurance. State Farm was recently ranked #1 by J.D. Power and Associates for life insurance customer satisfaction. Joseph's office is located in the Canyon Park Office Center. His number is 205-663-3276. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Back here at Zapata Mexican Restaurant as we turn our attention now to all things homecoming. Joining us now, SGA sponsors Val Slay and Shelly Bates. Ladies, how are we doing tonight?
Good. Doing great.
Great to have y'all with us. And, I've noticed a renewed energy with SGA this year, and I know that came from some ideas that you guys had. Could you just talk a little bit about what was behind that and what you've done?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. Coach Hill came to me last year at the end of the year and just talked about a vision that she had for inclusivity with our students, and really just she wanted to see all of our student body involved in something. And she wanted to expand the role of student government in our school, and she just kind of had this idea of how can we get it to grow. And so she asked me if I would get on board because I had experience doing the student government at my old school. And she said that Ms. Bates would be on board to help, and so that's kind of been our MO, is just to see how we could really take our government and have it be a true representative group of our full student body and have the goal of getting everybody involved at school.
We've certainly seen it around the school and just them involved in a lot more. Now, I know with homecoming next week, you guys are taking the lead on a lot of stuff at the high school. Want to tell us about some of the fun stuff that's going to be happening?
Yeah, Monday night we've got powder puff football for the juniors and seniors, and our annual kickball team game for freshmen versus sophomores. That's Monday night. Everyone's invited to come out. It's only $5 to get in. It's great entertainment. The kids really have a good time with that. Wednesday we're going to be having having our parade and our community pep rally, and Ms. Knight's here tonight to talk a little bit about that. And, of course, our homecoming festivities are on Thursday this year, so that's unique, and that puts our dance on Friday night. So it's a full week, complete with a pep rally at school, and the kids are just really excited. We even have some service things planned and reaching out to our community in the midst of it. So great week planned.
Yeah, you mentioned the community. That's what I was going to ask. I've never heard it this quiet. Everyone's obviously wanting to hear about homecoming night, which is really cool. But how important is a community in a week like that when you're not just wanting to do things with the school, but actually reach out further than that?
Well, I mean, it's everything, because that's what homecoming is really about. And, you know, in recent years, we kind of lose touch with that. Homecoming really is about the people that have made Pelham what it is. And so it's a chance for our students, our current student body and faculty, to come together. But it's also an opportunity for us to remember those that came before us and honor some of our traditions and, you know, just really connect our community to our school, which is so vitally important. So
our students spent a big bulk of the summer in our summer summit planning homecoming, and the students took that upon themselves to decide what they would do for our dress-up days, and trying to make those so that not just the high school, each of our schools could be involved in that, and they really did a good job doing that.
How do you feel it's empowered them to have that kind of voice?
I think it's been great for them. When we had our summer summit this summer, it taught them how to lead. It taught them how to, not everybody is going to have the same idea, but you can voice your idea and your opinion and put it out there, and everybody gets to vote on it, and it's okay if yours doesn't get picked. That's okay. And then I can just get on board with the idea that did get picked and be okay with it and push it out to everybody else. So it was really great.
We've really noticed that we have great student leaders at Pelham. And what we have seen through student government this year so far is giving those students who have those leadership qualities the opportunity to grow that talent has just been something special. So that's part of what SG is about, not only reaching students and having them be involved, but teaching those that choose to run for student government how to lead.
Well, let's hear from some of the students now. We have Aspen Godet and Jordan Caskey with us as we pass these mics around.
Yep.
How we doing, guys?
We're good. How are y'all?
Doing great. Now, we just want to hear sort of student perspective about the excitement of homecoming and maybe what you guys are looking forward to.
Gotcha. So homecoming is something, obviously, that we really look forward to. But I think a different perspective that SGA is bringing this year is not only is it's all about, you know, high school and this big dance, is that we now have amazing mentors with us who push our ideas and bring it to the entire Pelham community, not just, specific groups in Pelham High School, those who normally get involved, but we're really trying to include everybody, and we have amazing people help us do that.
Are these the kind of weeks that really bring you into SGA, the kind of things that you get excited about, why you sign up for that kind of stuff?
Yeah, for sure. My favorite part of planning, like Miss Bates said, of the Summer Summit was definitely talking about homecoming. There's just so many fun things. Powder Puff is definitely one of my favorites, but especially the community pep rally and seeing everybody come together.
So we know y'all are kind of giving back to the community with some stuff during homecoming week. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, so every week or every pep rally we have a pause challenge, which is in between the grades. And this week's will be what we're calling Socktober. And basically we're just going to be donating socks to go to the homeless in Birmingham. And our goal is to get about 1,000 pairs of socks. And basically that's each student bringing in a pair of socks, but the grade that brings in the most socks will win.
And now that I know you brought up Powder Puff, I kind of miss the days when it was just a very strong, intense rivalry, which were certainly friendly. No one ever got mad at anybody, right? What's that like, trying to keep it fun, especially when, you might be on the being responsible for it and putting everything on. What's that like for y'all, the perspective of that particular night?
I think it's cool, though. I do feel like in some aspect, high school life is changing a little bit. And our students are understanding the point of homecoming and why we do the things that we do. I mean, we're about to have a powder puff practice after this, but it really is like talking about inclusivity, becoming better friends with the people, in different grades with you really helps the aspect of this is more about fun and coming together versus competition. I want to beat you guys.
Yeah. All right, it does help to win.
Yeah, it
from
does
the
help.
outside.
I
painted up as a junior for Powder Puff. I was ready for that. That was good stuff.
So the dance is on Friday, which is a little bit unusual. What are some of the advantages of that, and maybe how might it get more kids to want to come out?
This is a super exciting topic for us. So we've had football season building up to the homecoming dance, and we are ending with a bang. Hopefully we're going on to playoffs, so we won't have to worry about that, but we're ending with a good week full of excitement. And then you get the game, you get the dance, and then right after that is Halloween weekend. So, it's a great way to end this amazing football season that we have had with new coaches and different players, and just a different look at how Pelham High School is functioning this year.
Well, fantastic. Well, guys, thanks for coming. We're going to continue the talk about homecoming. Nicole Knight joins us to talk about that community pep rally. That is coming up right after this. We'll take a quick break right back here from Zapata.
State Farm Insurance Agent Joseph Chambers is a proud supporter of 93.3 The River and all things Pelham. Joseph and his staff can take care of your home and auto insurance needs as well as life insurance. State Farm was recently ranked #1 by J.D. Power & Associates for life insurance customer satisfaction. Joseph's office is located in the Canyon Park Office Center. His number is 205-663-3276. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Back here at Zapata as the Panther Pulse continues. Joining us now is Nicole Knight, Communications Director for Pelham City Schools. Nicole, how you doing?
I am well. How are you?
Doing great.
Glad to be here.
Great to have you with us now. We continue to talk about homecoming, and we want to talk about that community pep rally. For those that don't know about this tradition, just talk a little bit about that, tell them about it, and what we can expect this year.
Well, we have evolved from the Panther Prowl to ending with the community pep rally at Pelham City Park on the youth football field. Probably a few years into the Panther Prowl, we decided, hey, why are we going to end this night so soon? Let's go ahead and have more of a community feel when everybody gets off the floats and enjoy a pep rally for the team and the community. And so we're really excited to continue that tradition. The Pelham City Schools Foundation came on board as a sponsor for the pep rally a few years back, and they've really made it into something that we could all grab onto and make fun for the whole community. Last year we created a Panther Powerhouse Challenge with teams from every school and an alumni team. And we decided that would be a great way to involve a lot of students and teachers, and it was just so much fun. So we're going to do that again this year, and we have some new games planned. It's going to be a little shorter this year, so we don't have to wear everybody out and we can get the football team home to rest. But it's just going to be really exciting. We love having everybody come out, and it's a fun way to cap off the week.
Yeah, how does that, you're building off of something that obviously brought so much excitement last year. How do you, go beyond that now that y'all have done so much to get that event going? Where does it go from here?
Well, I don't know. We're always open to ideas. We want to continue to grow it. The community has definitely been behind it and been supportive, and so that's been the biggest thing that's been really so exciting to see, because it feels like every year the audience gets bigger. People are, continuing to stay engaged. They want to stay there. This year, Pelham Parks and Rec going to have concessions open, so there'll be plenty of food and drinks for anybody who wants to, have dinner out there at the park. And we will just continue to evolve and grow it as we get more, involvement and ideas from people. But the SGA has been, great, and hopefully we can continue partnering with the Pelham City Schools Foundation and make it even better year after year.
Now, we kind of glossed over the parade to get to the pep rally, but tell us a little bit about that. Is it going to be business as usual? Any changes to what we're accustomed to?
I don't think we're going to have any major changes this year. We're working on some logistics for anybody who may have been a little bit frustrated last year. There were some hiccups with just the way that we loaded the parade. So we're going to fix that this year, but we have over 25 floats, everybody from the Pelham Parks and Rec youth sports to the middle school and high school clubs, sports, extracurriculars. So we've got a lot of involvement. There's always interest from a lot of different people, so we're excited to see everybody come out again.
Well, very cool. Anything else we need to know before we go to break?
No, we just look forward to seeing everybody. Bring your Panther spirit. We are still recruiting for the alumni team. So
I work Wednesday nights. I'm so sorry.
You had an excuse last year too. I don't know. But
so fired up about Powder Puff, you
there.
got a chance to compete.
Anyway,
feels Monday night maybe.
We love engaging the alumni, as Miss Slay said. It really is part of community and what homecoming is all about. So that was a great addition last year, and we're excited to have everybody back again this year.
Well, appreciate you stopping by and letting us know.
Thank you.
Nicole Knight, Val Slay, all of SGA. Thanks to all of you. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we talk all things track and field with Coach Marty Springfield and several of his athletes. That is coming up right after the break here on the Panther Pulse from Zapata Mexican Restaurant.
State Farm Insurance Agent Joseph Chambers is a proud supporter of 93.3 The River and all things Pelham. Joseph and his staff can take care of your home and auto insurance needs as well as life insurance. State Farm was recently ranked #1 by J.D. Power and Associates for life insurance customer satisfaction. Joseph's office is located in the Canyon Park Office Center. His number is 205-663-3276. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Work is a part of all of us. We know that the world around us has changed, and that's why the Alabama Department of Labor is here to get you back to working hard. Work is a part of all of us. Let us help you get back to it by visiting your local career center or alabamaworks.alabama.gov. Funding provided by the USDL, ETA, and Federal WIOA, and Equal Opportunity Employer Program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request. Brought to you by this station and the Alabama Broadcasters Association.
The skills you can develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you an edge in the high-tech job market of tomorrow. The Guard offers career training to take advantage of your skills in science, technology, engineering, and math that can help give you a leg up to a high-paying and rewarding STEM profession. Get a head start on your career while earning money to pay for college. Log on to NationalGuard.com to learn about all of the STEM career opportunities in the Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Zapata Mexican Restaurant is a proud supporter of 93.3 The River. Zapata is a local family-owned and operated business, proud to have been a part of the Pelham area for more than 20 years. They have more than 100 authentic and delicious Mexican dishes to choose from. There's something for everyone, from salads to steak fajitas to chicken fingers. They also have excellent vegetarian options and a kid-friendly menu. Zapata Mexican Restaurant, where Valleydale meets Highway 31 in Pelham.
Back here at Zapata Mexican Restaurant, we switch our attention now to track and field here on the Panther Pulse, joined by Coach Marty Springfield and several of his athletes. Coach, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Great to have you back. And so let's just talk a little bit about how the group's shaping up this year. We senior loaded, a lot of young and up-and-comers, or kind of a mix?
On the boys' side, it's really a mix. Girls' side, we're young. We're very young. Some good talent, but very young.
And so what's the offseason looking like for y'all? I mean, obviously the team building, trying to figure out who's where, but what does that training look like at this point in the year?
So we lift a couple of days a week, and then we're on the track a couple of days a week. Fridays are kind of hit or miss. Obviously, we have a lot of pep rallies, things like that. So we try to get in at least 4 good days of work a week.
So how does that kind of work when you have the kind of schedule we have, so much going on? How do you kind of navigate around that to make sure your athletes are staying well-trained and getting those workouts in?
Well, luckily we do have a 7-period athletics. I'm thankful that Pelham allows us to have that because working your athletes out and having to keep them late in the year, late in the day when it's not their season, it can be tough. So being able to have that hour, we try to get in, get some good work done, and then cut them loose at 3 and let them go home and be good students.
And so how much overlap do you have with other sports? I mean, does that make it challenging, or does it make it better when you don't have to, they're staying in shape when they're in these other sports?
It's different year to year. We do have a good bit of overlap. Like for our indoor, and outdoor track teams, we'll probably have, 15 football guys, another half dozen basketball boys and girls, some volleyball girls. So we do have a good bit that we get from other sports, but at the same time, right now in our 7-period class, which includes cross country, which hopefully they'll do indoor, and our all-season group, we've got 62. So we're looking at having probably 70 plus for indoor, which is our biggest numbers we've had. So we're in great shape numbers wise. We're just, like I said, we're a little young, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
So I know we've had a lot of success the last couple of years. Do you attribute that large number of kids coming out for indoor to that, or is it just maybe something different?
I'd like to think it is, but I think it's just cyclical. The middle school does a good job of getting kids out for track, and so that's always a big help. And then we try to supplement that by finding athletes at the high school that are maybe in other sports that we identify as a good athlete or has the ability to jump or to throw or do one specific thing, and then we try to do a little recruiting.
Does it help when track and field is something that you can do in addition to other sports? I mean, I know there's not strict rules on seasons. I know people can leave softball and go into a track meet or something like that. Does that make it easier to get other athletes?
Well, we don't share a whole lot during the season. Basketball occasionally, we have a few this year that'll do both, but essentially they're going to be a one-sport athlete that just come to the meet. So they're going to be a basketball athlete, and then they'll just come to 1 or 2 meets.
Right.
Kennedy, who you'll talk to later, was like that early in her career. She played basketball. She would only come to some meets. Practice was very limited. So it doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen a little bit.
So talk a little bit about the indoor versus outdoor, what the differences are and how those seasons, time-wise, what they look like.
Yeah, so indoor will start November 8th. That'll run through the first weekend of February. Will be our state meet. We will have Sunday off, and then we will start outdoor the next week. And that will go through the first weekend of May. As far as events, most of them are going to be the same. The only thing that we pick up outdoor compared to indoor, javelin, discus, obviously we need a little more space, 400 hurdles. But otherwise, most things are going to be the same, whether it be sprints, distance. We got something, jumps, throws. We got something for everybody.
One's just a little warmer,
It is. Honestly, I prefer indoor. Now, the practices are cold for indoor, but I like the facility that we're in. It's a great facility over at the Crossplex, but everything basically happens inside a 200-meter oval. So there's always something going on. We should have kids somewhere competing at all times. And, for me as a coach, it makes it a little bit easier.
How much have you seen the indoor landscape change since they had added that over in Hoover?
It's helped. I mean, I've been running. I grew up in Alabama. I grew up in Hoover. So I ran on the old wooden track when it was in Montgomery, and then I ran when it was in Priceville in a big metal shed. And so I was looking at old results the other day, and if you look at who ran back in, let's say, 05, and then the teams today, it's not even comparable. I mean, yes, back then the big schools still ran, but the smaller schools have just exploded as far as their ability to compete and their interest in competing.
Well, let's hear from a couple of our athletes now. We got Junior Kennedy Lyles and Senior Julian Duff with us. Guys, how we doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, great to have you guys with us. Now, this fall sort of lead up into the season, what's that like for y'all and how's the training going?
It's very important because you want to make sure you're in shape and, just ready for the season so you won't be behind once the season actually starts.
Yeah, just maintaining shape, and then once season comes in, you're ready to perform.
So how often do y'all usually get your runs in, especially during the off season?
Basically every day. That even if I'll do myself, I'll work out. If I don't work out, I'll run. So I get at least a little bit of running in every day.
I do running every other day. Days that we actually run.
Now, what's your favorite time of the year to train? Indoor, outdoor, which do you guys prefer?
Outdoor.
I prefer outdoor.
What is the perfect weather?
Around 70, kind of cool, a little windy, not too hot, not too cold.
So we getting a little too cold already now today?
Yes, very.
I say mid 60s. Perfect temperature.
Y'all prefer the early morning thing? No. If you wanted once in the afternoon?
Well, in the afternoon.
Just in the afternoon. No morning.
No morning.
So what are some goals you guys have for this year coming up?
Just to make it a state for indoor and outdoor again, and to be able to get more or better PRs in my events.
Just PR and more events, and then also explore more events and expand my versatility.
So as far as a team goes, we are talking about individual events so much, but there is a camaraderie there. What's that like, the team dynamic that you have with all the fellow athletes?
It's pretty good. We have good relationships. We make sure we push each other throughout practice. We might not say it, but we're in competition between each other, and we try to make each other better.
It makes competing a lot more fun, and then just building positive relationships with people around you that have the same passion.
And from that team's perspective, what are meets like, especially when there's so many different events? I mean, are you trying to get over to watch teammates? Do you really have to focus in on your own events? What's that like?
I try to do both, but one event might get in the way in the other event, so I got to make sure I get my stuff done first before I make sure other people get their stuff done.
Yeah, I enjoy watching my teammates compete, but when it comes times for me to have to warm up and stuff, I'll get that out of the way.
All right, I know y'all kind of get overlooked in the scheme of more traditional sports as far as coverage and, accolades being highlighted. But what would you say to other students who might be a little interested but just hadn't given it a chance? I know we got great numbers, but to, your best selling point to students who might be interested in joining?
I mean, just come out. Some people, think track is just so horrible. But, it's really fun if you, do it with your friends. And, you might be actually good at it.
Yeah, I'd say you just definitely try it. You'll also, not only will you get better yourself in, your physical shape and everything, but you'll also meet new people and have more friends to talk to.
I can certainly say I wouldn't be intrigued by running, but I also know any of my friends who were in track and field, they all loved it. So
we got a lot of involvement. Well, guys, thanks for coming on tonight, and best of luck for this season. Coach as well.
All right, thank you.
All right, when we come back, we will turn our attention back to football. Coach Vick joins us to talk about a pivotal matchup this Friday against the Chilton County Tigers. That's coming up from Zapata here on the Panther Pulse.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping the country safe and our communities secure. Composed of hundreds of thousands of citizen soldiers from all walks of life, the Guard is always ready to respond to local or national emergencies. We protect the homeland. We're always there when called upon, and in every state and territory, we stand guard for our communities. To learn more, log on to nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Zapata Mexican Restaurant is a proud supporter of 93.3 The River. Zapata is a local family-owned and operated business, proud to have been a part of the Pelham area for more than 20 years. They have more than 100 authentic and delicious Mexican dishes to choose from. There's something for everyone, from salads to steak fajitas to chicken fingers. They also have excellent vegetarian options and a kid-friendly menu. Zapata Mexican Restaurant, where Valleydale meets Highway 31 in Pelham.
State Farm Insurance Agent Joseph Chambers is a proud supporter of 93.3 The River and all things Pelham. Joseph and his staff can take care of your home and auto insurance needs as well as life insurance. State Farm was recently ranked #1 by J.D. Power and Associates for life insurance customer satisfaction. Joseph's office is located in the Canyon Park Office Center. His number is 205-663-3276. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You can now do more without it costing you more. Alabama's attractions have come together to offer the all-in-one ticket that downloads to your mobile device. No matter how many attractions listed on the ticket you see during the time span you bought, your price stays the same. Pick the right ticket option that best fits your schedule, and then enjoy more attractions without spending more. All-in-one tickets for different areas of Alabama are available at alabama.travel and other places where online tickets are sold. Brought to you by Alabama Tourism Department, the ABA, and this station.
Back here at Zapata Mexican Restaurant. Great show tonight. Do want to shout out our sponsor, Zapata Mexican Restaurant, and Joseph Chambers, State Farm Insurance Agent. I know he was in the house. Might still be somewhere here. Always a great supporter.
Left early. Of
Pelham Panther Athletic. I mean, he's here, man. You know, he showed up. So
every week, actually.
We do appreciate
so,
that.
Yeah.
Always here with his family. And we bring in now, again, Coach Vick to talk about a big one against Chilton County on Friday. Now, we know this is what everybody wants to sort of talk about first is the scenarios that could come out of this. I mean, have you been able to kind of make sense of everything? Or I know Caleb kind of threw a
well,
wrench in the
I thought I
spokes.
had, and Caleb knows more than us, apparently. So he is impressive. He, biggest thing, obviously is win, and winning will take care of just about everything. If we win and with a Helena loss, we would be able to host a playoff game. So that's obviously a big, motivation there to be able to host. We would host Northridge here in Pelham, and then if we win and Helena wins and we finish third, and we would go to Hueytown. So that's kind of the basic scenarios, and we don't really talk about the other side. We know the other side, but we talk about the winning side, and we'll deal with the other side when they get here.
Yeah, that's when it gets complicated. Less complicated than it could have been, thanks to a couple of results from last week. But when you talk about that home playoff game, I mean, obviously with it not being fully in y'all's control, is that still something you like to bring up? I mean, even if it's not, y'all don't necessarily control your destiny in hosting a playoff game, but if you win, it at least gives you a chance.
Well, there's we bring it up. I mean, the kids got, you got to motivate kids, and they're motivated that way. I don't know if they're more motivated by that scenario in that we would host a playoff game as much as they were if that happens, the other team that would get knocked out of the playoffs, they seem to be they're really motivated about that.
Didn't
as
even
well.
mention the name. We're
Yeah,
just
so the good football teams, a good football team won't make the playoffs, one way or the other, and Clear's playing really good right now too, and it's good region. We've talked about it all year so far, but we talk about that. We talk about the scenario. They definitely want to would love to host a playoff game, host Northridge here.
What kind of team does Chilton County have when you look? I know they've been in a lot of games last couple of weeks. It's kind of gotten away from them in a couple of matchups, but what are the strengths of the Tigers?
Well, they're really, really athletic. I mean, they probably, outside of Chris Vazina at Briarwood, maybe the top recruit in our region. It plays both ways there, and he's just a really, really good player, just a junior, and been offered by just about everyone around, and and they have 3 or 4 other guys, skill position guys that are really, really talented with him. So they early on making a ton of plays on both sides of the football. Quarterback is a really, really gutsy player, very similar to probably Clear's quarterback, Chelsea's quarterback, that moves around, tough kid, takes a lot of hits, and also a really, really good baseball player. So they can be hot up front, offensively, defensively. They're big and strong, and they've done a really nice job. Now they've been. I think they are. They're minus 73, something like that on the road, and they're plus 27 at home. So they play a lot better at home, and we know that. Our kids know that. So going to there, we have our work cut out for us. They're a really good home football team.
How does that change when you talk about a team that started so hot? I mean, do you prepare for where they were at their best, or do you try to look at them maybe more recently just to see how they're playing now?
No, I think you play for, kind of take a little bit of everything, but, I mean, you definitely have to prepare for their best. I mean, if the best doesn't show up, that's great. But you prepare for that, again, they had a 3 or 4 week span where they had 3 or 4 games won and just didn't, things went against them there at the very end and against really good teams. So our kids know what they're capable of, and they know a lot of those kids over there. Those kids are a couple basketball players, and so they know they're good athletes. They know they're good players, and we'll be ready to go.
And we've seen some heated battles with them in basketball. Certainly,
I've heard
no love lost there. In this game, they've been in a couple recently that got away from them. After what we saw in the home week game, how important is it for us to get off to a fast start to kind of get last week, the bad taste out, but also to kind of not allow them to feel like, it's going to be a super close game?
Well, they haven't had one get away from them very, very much at home, and that's the thing that you have to go back and look at. They play a lot better at home, and they play with a lot of emotion. They have a ton of pride in their program. We have to start fast. We can't let them, come out and have that emotion and play in a close game. And we've got to come out faster, and that's what we've been talking about the last since Friday. We have to control tempo. We have to practice faster. We have to play faster, and on both sides of the ball, and we had to get first downs early, and that's something we didn't do the other night. So definitely something we gotta recognize that it's a team that's going to give us their best shot on Friday in front of their home fans.
I think we can all see that they're obviously improving. They still have a lot of talent, but they also still play a lot of guys both ways, and I think you saw that later in the season too, not just being away from home, but they're a little more worn down than they were those first couple of weeks. Coming off a bye, though, do you feel like that is going to give them an edge that maybe you haven't seen from them the past couple of weeks?
Well, you hit it on the head. I mean, just about all their skill guys play both ways, and a couple guys up front play both ways, and they play. Their best players are on the field a lot, and they have had an extra week to rest a little bit there, and again, that's why those first downs, that's why that tempo, the way that we're playing offensively has to be better than last Friday, because we have to keep those guys on the field defensively, just to kind of get them to a point where they're playing a lot of snaps on defense, so that they're not as fresh on offense. So that's something we talked about and have worked on, that they're good enough to make plays on both sides of football, so they never take them off the field. I wouldn't either.
In high school football, 1 week to the next, you can see completely different teams. I mean, a team like Homewood, they were the better team Friday, but I do think you play that ball game 10 times, you're going to get some different results. Against a team like Chilton County, where you look at them, they got so many athletes, how is that particularly dangerous to a team when you look at the record and it hadn't all come together, but you know how capable they are?
Well, they're capable of big plays, and big plays are scary when you're not as explosive on offense. If you're gonna score, 35, 42 points and 5-6 touchdowns a game, the big play doesn't scare you as much. But when you know that offensively, we at times have had a hard time scoring quickly and scoring, that in that 6-7 touchdown range, those big plays suddenly become really, really. Really, I mean, anyone can beat anyone with 2-3, tip ball, big catches. You saw the other night, Tennessee, Alabama, not to bring up those kind of memories, but for a lot of people. But when you hit 4 or 5 balls over the top, it doesn't matter how you play offensively or defensively the rest of the time. Those big plays make a huge difference in close games, and you got to limit the big play. They have guys that can make big plays, and we have to figure out a way to limit that for sure.
And when you're speaking of those big plays, you have a team coming off a bye week who's going to throw in wrinkles like most teams do, and they're playing spoiler. Are you thinking about trick plays, things you might see that you won't on a normal week?
Yeah, we talk about it today with our defense. It's one of those things that you're going to see everything. In special teams, you're going to see everything. Offensively, anything that you saw on Saturdays that may draw up on. Had an extra week to draw up on at practice, and you're going to just see a bunch of different things. And playbook's wide open. There's nothing to lose. Let these kids go out and have a lot of fun, and so you got to be ready for it all in special teams and offensively.
How much can you do late in the season to kind of gain momentum at the right time? Does that kind of come down to luck and chemistry of a team, or is there something you can do from a coaching perspective?
Well, we try to pull back and try to get shorter with some of the things that we do in practice. From a body standpoint in the middle of the year. And especially weeks 6, 7, 8. We have to start peaking now, 9 and 10. Not only conditioning, but from a body standpoint. Now, some of it, the luck part, is in the injury part. In my opinion, when you get late in the year, it's where you are from an injury situation. Are you getting guys back, or have you lost guys for the year? So I think that's where the luck comes in. But for us, it's about just peaking at the right time. Making sure that our kids are in the right mindset to play. We talk about with them. You get to the playoffs. Everything starts over. At that point, it's win or go home. But anyone can win on any given night, and we've seen that all year. So we just got to be ready weeks 9 and 10 to have everything solidified to where we want to be week 1 of the playoffs.
It should be a great one again this Friday at Chilton County against the Tigers. Final region matchup for the Panthers. Appreciate it as always, Coach.
Absolutely. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for having us.
Want to also thank Coach Springfield and his athletes, as well as Val Slay, Shelly Bates, Nicole Knight, and SGA for stopping by, for our players, for engineer Braden George, for Caleb Turntine. That will do it for us here at Zapata on the Panther Pulse. Again, thank you to our sponsor, Zapata Mexican Restaurant, and Joseph Chambers, your State Farm insurance agent. We will see you Friday in Clanton. If you can't make it, you can tune in right here on 93.3 The River, 7 p.m. kick. That'll do it for us here on the Panther Pulse. I'm Justin Foster. Good night, and as always, go Panthers.